and happy to be doing this again. Amog, I am going to unmute you. Okay, just give me a second. Hang on.
Once we start any project on execution stage, we do this documentation from start from
Yes,
project
yes.
timelines, this selection timelines, and so basically I am Tilda Palekar working with in everything. This includes everything: room wise, paint shed, wallpaper. So though we don't based on years of experience as interior design and project manager. So basically in this part, the all selection has to be in green, so that if there are any pending, we for two projects collectively annually check on it on every Friday. This is Azure. So today's topic of
So
discussion
this is a
will be
more
project
recent
management. We will
system that we've
understand
incorporated.
what are
Back
the
one.
key roles of a project manager.
Because we were
If
having a lot
you
of back
guys
and forth with clients,
and
and they
also
were starting to
understanding
feel
how we
overwhelmed,
guys
saying, "Oh, I have to
work
select
here
a veneer
and
also,
what are the
I have to
system
select
we
a paint
generally
also.
follow
I've
in
already
this Azure.
selected so much stuff."
So I'm sharing the
So
presentation.
Akansha is asking, is this at the time of execution or prior to starting it?
Let's go.
So we do this prior to starting our execution.
Yeah, right.
We don't do it. Yeah, I mean, it's just so
thing
that all the
started
dates are
sharing,
transparent.
but yeah,
To
it's
everyone.
on the fourth slide.
In that we're all clear.
Yeah. Is
Good.
it
Yeah,
visible?
now it's
Okay. So the next
So,
stage is project
understand
budget. This also we
what are the key roles
give
of
it
the project
to our
manager
client
if
before starting the
you guys
project.
don't have selections are all done with the design team. Sorry.
If all these skills are
Go
in
ahead.
you, if
Yeah.
you
So this
guys
is
don't
the
have these
project
skills,
budget
then we give it to our client.
So I think
Starting in
the initial part is
project.
just to understand
This
what all
includes
the
everything: general contractors
because
cost.
all of us
These
feel
are the
like we are
tentative
currently the project
cost, of
managers.
course.
I felt like that for the
So at
longest
start
time
of the
that I'm
project,
the
we give
project
tentative
manager,
cost, whatever
checking with
rates we have
everyone,
received,
is
like
this done, is that
services of
done, when is this,
HVAC,
is that. But I realized that there are some
automation
key
for
skills
anything that
that
we
you
input actual cost, and
which are
whatever are the
required
difference
to be a
we
very good project
calculate
manager, which is
on
why
a regular
I've hired an
basis.
external
If
project manager to track projects.
if
So that's what
HVAC we
Amog is going
had
to take you through what
calculated
those
15
skills
lakhs
are.
for a
And the goal
project
for you guys
and
is
it
to
is going
understand if you don't have those skills,
16,
maybe in the
we
future
generally tell
you
our
can look at
client
developing
these are
those
the one
skills
lakh
for
escalation.
yourself,
This
or you
will
can look
help
at outsourcing
for
and hiring
client to
people for
understand
those particular
what all
tasks.
escalations are happening in the project, so that initial project budgetary was 1 CR and that went to 1.5. So this documentation will help to justify in what all areas the escalation was and because of whom. So
You just zoom in a bit
this
on
is
this.
another yeah.
Everything in pink.
Key skills and
There's
roles.
an
Do you have
escalation.
all these skills?
Why
If
was it
not, then we
escalated and
need a
what
project
was
manager.
assumed in our BOQ?
For the first, so these are the explained key project
And
manager.
this is
What
a
is project
Google
manager?
sheet.
We oversee
It
all
is at
aspect of
Google
project from
Docs.
start to finish.
So
This
as the
includes
project is going
developing
on, so this our budgeting is done in two
project
parts.
plans,
Okay.
plans having start
So
to
the
end,
first part,
prediction
this
of
is the people who are
timeline,
in the comment section.
assigning
So the
tasks to
first
team
part
members,
is
which
that
we are
we
doing
have a
the
BOQ which is built out with all the contractor rates, and then we assume,
tracking the progress against the timeline.
all of
It is a
these
continuous process.
rates, which
Communicate,
is, say for
communicate
exhaust fans and general
effectively
lights and
with all
curtains and lights,
stakeholders
we put
in
all
the
these numbers in. Okay. Then once the project starts on site, the breaking work starts, all of that work starts on
you
site.
work as a project
Then we
manager will look
share
like a
that previous document
project.
where we're supposed to make all the selections. The one
key
Amok showed you two
problems
slides
solved.
ago. We share
Project manager should
that.
have that ability
Once all those
to
selections are made, because it's
track
as per
the
actual selections, we don't select the
problems,
entire shelf structure
whatever
before starting. A lot of furniture is
whenever
pending,
the
a lot of smaller
project
things
is
are
in some
pending. So
in to
this
tackle
list
that
is shared.
There
on
are
site
some
start.
audio issues on your
Then
end. Your
after
voice
that,
is cracking
then
up.
we update this on a Google sheet. We keep it there on a Google sheet. And as we make
It's still
the
cracking
actual
up a bit.
selections versus what we had accounted in the BOQ,
Do you
that's
want to
how
switch
this
locations? Go into one
entire
of the other meeting rooms?
sheet is, so that you understand why the escalation has happened and what has happened and
Guys,
what
just give
is
us
the
a second. Okay, we're
justification
going
for
to
each
change
item.
locations
Because it's
and then
real pain getting
see
into
if
these
that
conversations. So everything just appeared on a sheet.
You can't remember also कि whenever we are in later stage of execution and whenever the project ends and we sit with the clients for this escalation, you can't even remember कि what was initial thing that was escalated. So this
बिकॉज़ उसमें तो लैग नहीं होना चाहिए, स्क्रीन शेयरिंग की वजह से लैग कर रहा है।
Okay, guys, for all of you that are here on this Zoom call, okay, Amol is back already.
the project. So outside waterproofing, we
And you
generally
yourself,
don't
Amol,
have any
let's see
idea
this
कि
will work
it will
better.
come or not come. So these all stages are like कि this has to be done. But
Hang on.
all this additional work, veneer, if there are any additional plumbing, scaffolding, outside scaffolding, why will we count in our budgetary ki outside scaffolding for outside painting, sajja outside sajja, catwalk. So these are the additional work, and we are giving the justification. So this document will always help you guys to justify the cost escalation at end of the project. The first skill should be problem solving. The problems are unavoidable. Therefore, it is important to have a system to identify and once we float our BOQ, we float with three general contractors and solve the problem. Data collection does our past mistake and all civil, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, turnkey contracting. So this is the format of collaboration and comparison. So we get three quotations
Okay,
from
so
three
just
vendors,
one
and
more
these are
point
the
on this
very
is that,
transparent
I don't
view,
think I was
so that
very
we
good at problem
show it to our
solving
client.
earlier.
These
I
are
think
the
when there were
three
problems, I used to
contractor
get
rate,
scared and want to run
and
away.
these are
Maybe
apple
not
to apple
head on.
comparison.
But
These
there
all
are
three
some
contractors are
people,
like say
special
working
people,
pattern and
more
quality wise
who
they are
love problems and
same.
want to like as
So
soon as they see a
this
problem,
is
they don't
another
run into the other direction.
format.
They like
While
dive head
closing
first
on the general
inside and
contractor,
then try and
we share
untangle
this
the
document with
problem.
our
So I think that's also
clients,
something for you to
and
introspect and
then
say like, how
from
good
this
am I really
three,
at problem solving?
one
And
contractor
is this
will
something
be
that I consider to
finalized
be a
in
strength
terms
of mine? And if the
according to
answer is
their
yes,
rates
awesome. If the
and
answer is no,
quality of
then you
work.
need someone on your team who's able to untangle those very difficult scenarios.
So it is very important to collect data from past mistakes. Scope of work for contractors. So in that BOQ, what all should be included? The BOQ bill of quantity shall include list of list detailed specification of work to be executed. So in making BOQ, you should check all the specification, whatever we are mentioning in single code, plaster, double code, plaster. We should mention ki what are the of plaster has to be executed. If there is a carpentry work, what kind of ply we are using, what is the range of veneer, the cost of veneer, cost of laminate, cost of marble, everything has to be mentioned. Plan in place if they don't go. So next is description shall include mode of measurement. It should have mode of measurement. Many times it happens that the most important molding is in RFT, but we have mentioned square feet, so that will escalate the cost. NOS or lump sum, so that mode of measurement should be included in BO. Material specification to avoid quality issues. If we want marine plywood, normal plywood, so that everything should be mentioned. Payment terms and conditions. This is also very important. What are the next payment terms and conditions? The bill will be running bill, square feet wise, rates, or it will be on percentage basis. So everything payment terms and conditions should be mentioned. Retention percent. Many times we forget to put retention percent. So post handover, many it generally happens that contractors will lift their hand ki now my work is
We're
completed,
getting into all the
now further we
documentation,
can't
guys. I
do
promise.
any
We're
kind
just
of work.
laying
So
the groundwork
at that stage
for
this retention
what are
amount
all
will
the
help you better.
This
all
It
goal
will be generally
project
5%
manager
or
should have.
depending upon the
These are the
quantity of
discussion.
work.
Then
It should be like 5 to 10% depending upon
yeah,
the
we're just zooming
project.
through these
So if
parts
we
and then we'll go a bit
retain some
slower on the documentation and
the last
explain
balance
what we
amount,
do
of
on
course the
each
contractor,
document
if
and
there
why
are
we do it,
any
because that
quality
is the
issues
more
which generally
juicy
don't
part,
come
I
at
believe.
initial stages but on later stages,
And also the final
that has to be rectified. This retention amount will play a good role.
So basically, at the bottom of the BOQ, there are all these pointers that are usually written in small text that most of us don't read or most of us don't pay attention to. But then these are the points that become issues and discussion topics later on. And this is actually the most important aspect to ensure that everyone is aligned. So these are all the things that are usually there in those asterisk marks at the bottom. That's what Amog is trying to explain.
Yes.
Descriptions, material specification list, payment, terms and conditions, retention percentage, all the facilities provided, not provided. If it's a project that's outside of the city of that contractor, there are a lot of extra clauses, list of materials provided. Um, it's also added in with building timings, building permissions, any other issues that may arrive. We also have in Bombay something called like Mathadi, which is
Mathadi, yes.
Bombay, which is like you need to pay the local people in order to get the work done. So some of those things are also then put in as asterisk marks at the bottom before we start a project, which is part of our project manager's scope to negotiate all of this with the contractor and the clients.
Yes. All this scope has to be clarified with the contractor, clients, and us, so that there won't be any dispute to moving ahead. So list of material provided by client. So what all material client will everything has to be. So this is the summary. So every project BOQ should have detailed summary. What are the outstation charges? If there are GST applicable. So many times it happens that client will say ki this is the cost with GST. So everything should be mentioned. Ki outside charges are 5% extra. So this should be the BOQ should have the details. And also the specifications with all images attached, door handles, door size.
We have this as both ways where we attach the 3D views into our BOQs, snips of the 3D views. And you can also do it as a cross referencing system where on that specific drawing, you can also write the BOQ items that it corresponds to so that it becomes easy for you to track from a budgetary point of view and for you to understand how to best track that entire process.
So these are the payment terms and conditions. So what is the advance payment? This is for a very fast track project like FNB projects. So generally it is for 90 days. So it won't be on the running bill system. So it will be 40 days, 25%. So everything should be documented so that there won't be any dispute for clients and contractors.
So typically 20 to 30%, we go back.
Yeah.
Typically 20 to 30% is released. 30% is high, it's on the higher end of the spectrum. But like Amok said, when it's a fast track project, you end up paying a higher advance in the beginning. And you can see they've also then agreed to, instead of a 5% or a 10% retention, they've agreed to a 15% retention. So this is a very big negotiating point. Our clients pay the contractors directly. We don't pay anything. We work on a zero commission model. So we just facilitate all these conversations and make sure that everything is happening correctly. And all of this is then shared before the work starts, and the clients has to sign on to this. Otherwise, the work doesn't go forward and begin.
Terms and conditions. It will be
okay. So let's go. So sorry, just go back.
Yeah.
Quantities mentioned are approximate. Billing is made as per actuals. So there's two ways of doing this also. If you've agreed to a lump sum, you can also tell them that if there's a 10% variation, I'm not going to pay you extra, but anything beyond 10% variation, I will pay. There are all of the ways that you can negotiate. Quantity of trucks will be as per actuals, all material provided to be delivered on site. This is another one where people fight a lot. It's like,
Yeah.
marble guy will come, he'll deliver the marble down in the building, then no one is there to take it up, and the contractor puts up his hands, saying who's going to take this marble up, and then it becomes a fight. So better to be clear. Electricity, place provided for material loading, unloading. Debris, you have to assign a place for debris. No local issues are going to be on our heads. Um, any extra work will start on approval and advance payment of 70%. Samples. So, what we've started doing now for point number 12 is we are starting to spec in our BOQs all the items which we need sampling for and asking them to include the sampling cost within that BOQ so that the sampling cost doesn't become a huge topic and something very difficult.
Yeah, there are two ways. We can do it individually also, and also we can include that in quantity rate.
Then after that, pest control, taxes. Okay, rates for work timings. Okay, we had one scenario in which a contractor couldn't work 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. They were bad work hours, and the site went longer. He directly charged 50 lakhs extra on the project at the end, saying that this is not the work timing that we had. Obviously, had to argue with him and be like, are you mad? We're not going to pay you 50 lakhs for bad work timings. But it happens. So you live and you learn. And yeah, rates quoted valid for 3 months. There are lots of delay clauses also that get built in. Important. Like, this is super important, guys. All of these become points to manage your project, manage the contract. Yeah.
And also, when we plan our project timeline, we share with our contractors. We put our clauses also. If there are any delays due to contractor, there will be a delay penalty. Day wise, monthly wise, if there are any delays from contract. And so moving ahead, this is the running bill system we need to follow. All the bills, contractor bills are certified by us. Quantities are certified by our supervisors and jointly with client supervisor if there are any client supervisor. Or else we our supervisor certify the quantities, and these are the running bill system. What are the quantities we have measured in RA1, RA2, RA3? So this is like a format we have made for our all of our contractors. In first bill, RA bill, this was the quantity. In RA2, this was the quantity, and then in last RA1, 2, 3, this is the total quantity. So we don't miss out on many times it happens ki this measurement was taken in last running bill. So we have the document ki if this dedicated area measurement was taken or not taken. So this will justify. So this is RA1, RA2, RA3. So this is also, and when the final bill is, there will be final RA.
There are obviously little escalations that happen along the way. So we try to track that at 3 different stages and understand why.
See,
With the
just quantity, initially we had, so initially we had quoted was 6,700, and actual measurement quantity as per 3 running bill is 6,238. So this will also help to justify what are the quantities and where are the major escalations.
So it's also a good practice to do this 3 times, and I'll tell you when those 3 times are for running bills. The first time is, maybe three. Let's assume it's a 12-month project cycle. So maybe about 3 to 4 months after the project has started, because there will be initially a lot of measurement discrepancies or work timing. Like, oh, I had assumed this work timing, but actually it's not. Like that initial part is when you realize whether there are issues on site or no. One is mid project, but the most important running build is the pre final running build. After handover, someone asked me this question in the comments. Um, so, sorry, someone's also asked me another question. Just give me a second, guys. We're trying to get through this. So, the pre handover running bill is very important because after handover, people don't want to pay big amounts of money. That's why you have to keep only 5% or max 10% for post handover. And when there's a large escalation, you have to do that running bill and get it cleared before. Once the clients are in the house, then they're just going to argue with you because they've got exactly what they wanted and say, no, why this, why that. So RA3 is the most important one. And we always sit with our clients, the month before handover and say, this is where we are at. These are the amounts. And most of the contractors also say that we are not going to do any further work till all these amounts are cleared, which is also okay. Yeah. So, and then someone has asked how often are clients patient enough to sit and understand all these conditions. So it's first of all, anyone who's a paying client will want to understand what they're paying for and what the terms and conditions of that are. But we do simplify for our clients and run them through it. And that's why this call is not with clients, but with you guys as designers. You have to be clear on what all the terms and conditions are. So it's something that's favorable to you and your clients versus, only favorable one way or the other. And if a client is late to clear dues, typically work does stop on site with a warning.
Yeah, we put a mail directly, matlab, not we, I put a mail on client's email ID ki, due to this reason, and also on Friday, whenever we share our weekly report, we put it on the WhatsApp group ki work is on hold due to this reason. If there are any selections also pending, we generally put it on hold ki, because if the plumbing fittings are not selected, we can't go ahead. Electrical fittings are not selected, we can't go ahead. So every Friday and on mail also we keep this everything documented. And this is like, and one more thing I want to mention, कि all these quantities are linked by measurement sheet. So it is not like a handwritten quantities. All the measurement sheet is made and the quantities are linked directly here, so that there won't be any what we call bochi in measurements. कि there are many times it happens कि there are quantity in measurement sheet it is 1000 and here it is 1200. So generally to avoid this, all quantities should be linked.
Okay, go ahead.
Previously, we used to use Zoho for our weekly report. Now we have shifted everything to Notion. So this software is like very broad. It is more or less like Excel to us. We can add many things, date, actual dates. So these are the new formats for Notion. This is the format of Notion.
So basically, yeah, each of these are laid out. Each and every single stage is laid out. And then we have comments written as to what has happened, when, why has it happened, when has it happened. The software is called Notion, Notion. It's there written clearly at the bottom. And it is free. Even Amog is using the free version. I have a paid version, but there was no real name requirement.
Yeah,
Me to use the paid version. No, Amog is using the free version and it's fine.
free version for almost 44 projects. We are using
Yeah, 44 projects on this. So the Mario, Cheetos, and Ninjas is that we have three internal teams: Marios, Cheetos, and Ninjas. Each team handles about 15, 16 projects. So based on which team it is, then we can check, how this goes ahead, and every timeline is written. Among, if you just exit screen sharing, I'll just show them. I have the Notion laid out here.
Yeah.
So this is the Notion dashboard. Okay, so if we see any of the this is not filled out. If we see any of the dashboards, we can see under each of them what has happened, what has not happened, and what has been tracked, what has not been tracked, and each of the things that are done, that are not done, and why they have been done and not done. Everything is there, which is tracked in a good way. You know, everything is written very clearly. We can also assign tasks. So if I go into client table, these are all the tasks I do. So 1 second, I'll just show you this one. Come on. Yeah. So if you see this, you guys can see it, right? This is a roadmap. This is today's day. This is where we are at. This is where we were supposed to be. So we've not updated some of this. We can see what has been completed. We can see the entire timeline. We can see this in a table view. We can understand each of the tasks. So this becomes very easy for me to track the projects as well. And
For team lead also, it is very easy.
team lead, it's very good. And we are a total of 45 of us or 40 of us. I don't know how many people are we now? About 40?
40.
So we're 40-ish of us handling 40 plus projects. We don't use Sheets and Notion. Notion is used for the project management. The earlier documents that we showed you are used as additional tools in order to keep the clients accountable. And Amog and one more project manager who works with Amog update this through the week. But also the team leads are responsible for making sure the updates are there in place. And then this gets sent out every Friday. So it's a joint responsibility, but eventually Amog has to make sure it's updated and sent out. Amog, it's saying that you started screen sharing, but I can't see the screen. Amog? I think his is frozen. Hmm. Okay, just give him a second. I think his computer froze up. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to write it. Um, no, any other software for internal team communications. We're good with WhatsApp. And clients get access to the project tracking as well every single week. We send this out. Clients do sometimes hire a project manager additional to the project management services that we provide. So that is something that happens. And dealing with factual variation, it's fine. Or we just assume that that's going to be part of what happens. We take it within our stride. Is it better to have in-house contractors? We don't actually care which contractors have, as long as it's a good contractor. So we want to be, not dependent on a specific contractor or person. We want to be able to have whichever contractor that works with us and have the same process that's followed to make sure that everyone is held accountable. I'm just asking Amog to unmute. Amog, are you back? Just give me a second, okay? I have it up on my screen, guys. Just give me a second. I'll go into screen sharing, okay?
कम हो जाएगा हो जाएगा हाँ 12 स्टेप्स 12 स्टेप
So this I've run you guys through, and all of you guys were asking how the tracking happens. So this is how the tracking happens. Every single Friday, we send out workflow to our clients and tell them whether the project is on track, delay, minor delay. We also have formats where constant communication information is given to all stakeholders of the process of what is happening, what's not happening. This specifically helps us with our out of Bombay project. So this is a Calcutta project where along with images, everything has to be tracked and written and sent to us. We also have a tracking document where we track each and every single item that's been ordered. So, often we have scenarios in which things have been ordered from different places. Like here you can see we've ordered from Beacon, Western, Oblique, House of Things, Abaca, Ravishpura, Mandi Homes, Lalwani for planters, AK Interiors. We've done a whole mix of different things. So for each item, where each item is coming from, we also have this, so we don't miss anything at all. We share detailed MOMs after every meeting. This is also part of our entire project tracking endeavor that we do. We're quite militant about the MOMs and how that process is. So this has been very helpful for us when clients have raised an issue saying, I never signed off on this, I never agreed to this. That's why we keep an MOM practice, even though it's quite tedious. And finally, this is the format that we follow for snags and snag listing. So we have an entire document in which each image is put of what the issue is. And this again works well for an out of Bombay project. And then against each item, the client and the contractor rather has to send us an image, and then we will do a physical check in the last and make sure that all the snags are rectified. And finally, when we finish a project and we are done with the project, then we hand over the entire project to our clients and give them a list like this with this email so that in case they have any issues, they can contact all of these people. And in case they want to call us, they're most welcome to, but otherwise, you tend to get calls for all kinds of things. Okay, we still have a lot of questions. So I'm going to exit here and go into that. I'm just going to see if I can get through this and get through some of these questions. Okay. Let's start with this. Do I have an in-house 3D team? Yes. In case of cost escalations and projects, is it first highlighted to the clients for approval? Yes. At what platform does the team talk? WhatsApp? Yes. With clients, WhatsApp? Yes. How do I track billing? I think we've shown you lots of documents of how billing is tracked. Can you please brief on more projects for small interior design startups? How do we market ourselves? I'm so sorry, but today is not about marketing. I think we've got enough problems with project management. We'll just stick to that. How do we coordinate all the deliveries? I think I did show you that document with all of the vendors of how we make sure that every single item has come through. If a project gets shelved, how do we figure the work that's been done? So yeah, we do have a payment schedule for that to get paid for the work done to site till date. And that's put into our contracts as well. We charge the clients as design consultancies per square foot rate. How often do you have meetings with the teams and clients? So Amok does a once a week check-in with all the projects. I also do a once a week check-in. The team leads are on the project a lot more. And the senior designer who's assigned to the project is there checking in every day, not physically, but virtually. And physical visits tend to be once a week for Bombay projects, and once a month for out of Bombay projects. How many meetings do I do? So for me, I do all of the parts that involve um, layouting, planning, 3D views, and then the teams take everything forward. Clients don't ask for only design documents. I mean, if they do, we don't take those projects on. Um, yeah, Roshni is asking, do you also have issues which are solved on site directly? Yeah, totally. There are. Um, I think would love to see if any of you want to put up your hands and have a more specific question about something to do with project management and the way that we run our projects. I am most happy. Okay, Stuti. Hi,
Hi, good to see you again.
good to see you too.
Okay, very quickly. While the project is going on, there are a lot of changes that happen at site, right? And you tend to update that on the BOQ. You also tend to share everything with the client.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the project, when you have your final payments, the client is always still asking for, some sort of concession, some sort of discount. How do you deal with that? Because all of that essentially has already been done, but still that last bit there is a.
There's no scope for that. No, Stuti, if you've had enough documentation showing that this is what all the costs are,
Hmm.
where in that final 10% payment, a lot of people round off the number, and the contractors also assume that I don't know if I'm going to make my 10%. So they are also open minded to say whatever we get from that is a bonus. But it can't be anything greater than that because we are also responsible for their livelihoods, right? Like you karmically are responsible for making sure the contractor's gotten paid. You are the person who's there on the project. So that's why that running bill number three is very, very important to make sure a chunk of the payments are clear of the contractor. Otherwise, they come and sit on your head as well, right? Being like, Madam ji, mujhe payment nahi mila hai, which is not fair for them too.
Absolutely, because we go through that a lot. So then everything needs to be done before the final set then, and whatever tutu may needs to be done should be done before.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aishwarya.
Hey, hi, how are
Hi,
you?
all good.
Thank you for the session. I think a lot of information through the BOQs that you shared. I just had a major question because a lot of the BOQ definitely depends on measurements that the design team would probably acquire from drawings, right? So a lot of times we've noticed clients do share CADs or PDF where there are a lot of measurement discrepancies.
Yeah.
So, at what stage do you vet that, and how do you identify
Running
such
bill
issues? And
one.
okay, so that is so it is clear with the client that there is going to be discrepancies from the beginning.
We tell them from day zero that even if it's an AutoCAD sent by a builder, there's going to be a 15% discrepancy. And if there's no AutoCAD and we're converting a PDF to AutoCAD, you can expect a 20 to 25 discrepancy between CAD and plans, like actual layout.
Okay.
We tell them, which is why having a good running bill system is so important. If you don't have it, then you're dead in the water.
So, because before the running bill one, you're going to be ordering for a lot of material, right? So
But that's
that is
already
going to be
accounted for, no, in the BOQ.
so it's based on this measurements that you have from the
But then
drawing.
the
right?
running bill will capture that, right? Because it's only 3 or 4 months after project starts. Then the running bill will
Okay.
capture that, yes, there's actually been an escalation. I don't require X material, I require X plus 20% material.
Got it. Okay. Noted. Thank you.
So, Ayushi?
Just wanted to know, how does it work when the clients are not convinced with the idea of hiring site managers and PMC? Like, how do you run through that?
So we keep it as an option. Like we recommend it to them. We explain it like if sorry, my treadmill is being put away. If there is even one material substitution that happens on site, the contractor can gain 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs just from one material substitution. And our supervisors are only going once a week or twice a week. Physical visits are happening only in that frequency. So it's very difficult then to make sure that there is no material substitutions that's happening. So if that is the case, then it is in their best interest, even if they pay someone 30K a month. If you look at 12 months, that's not even a fraction of the cost of what it's going to charge, so just for a full-time supervisor. I get it if they don't want some hectic, lakhs a month. So yeah.
No, but generally your design team they don't take care of the supervision in terms of the material, what's coming, who's coming on the site, their work schedule, nothing, right?
We don't.
Thank you so much. It
My
was
pleasure.
thank you.
Rechna, hi.
Hi, I'm so thankful that I could attend the session, and the procurement happens. So who does the procuring? I mean, that happens between those discussions happen between the contractor and the client, or your design team is involved in that.
We are involved in the discussions to do with procurement. See, we work on zero commission. So I'm happy to work with any contractor. I'm not fussed, and any procurement person as well. As long as it's the right quality. So Akash Rungta has asked if the client wants to hire a cheaper vendor. That's if it's cheaper, I don't mind. But if the quality is not correct, then I do mind. So it's just I don't care if I buy from shop A, B, or C. As long as it's high quality, then I'm fine. That's all that really matters to me.
So who oversees the because there could be delays in the procurement which can happen from the client side or the contractor side.
So
So
that
how
the
do we take
full-time
care of that?
supervisor on site has to track.
Okay, your supervisor at the
No,
site.
the client assigns a full-time supervisor from their side.
Okay, okay.
That's
So
tracked by them with the help and supervision of us because we give them the make list.
okay, so every site of yours has a supervisor from the client's end.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
got it.
contractually built in for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Preksha?
Hi, thanks, Sarah, for doing this session. So, my question is actually an extension of what Rachna had asked. A lot of times, most of the materials have a longer timelines. Like, for example, on one of the site, the glass was selected, quite late, and it was delivered like 6 weeks from the time. And interior work happens in sequence. So a lot of delay happens because either the client hasn't paid or hasn't selected or is confused. And it's a lot of admin time to select all the materials in time for delivery and all. And this is one of the bigger issues for project management. Can you help us understand a little bit more in detail that how do you manage? Because even the site supervisor chosen by the client or the project manager could be not so efficient in managing these timelines and all. How do you do it?
But I think we had shared the document, right, which has all of the materials that have to get procured, and the timelines for which they have to get procured. I'll pull that up for you again. I think we took you guys through this entire listing. This is exactly what happens. All of this has to get procured by these dates. If it's not procured, your project is running in delay. It's literally just that simple. So it is both your responsibility to provide the options and the client's responsibility to sign off on that by that timeline. And if it is not done, then the project is in delay, at which point and in your weekly message, you will get a message saying your project is running in a 1 week delay because these materials are not procured. So it's not supposed to be that it happens where it's like, oh, my site is about to hand over. I only have 6 weeks for the site to hand over. Suddenly they've ordered the glass late. Now my site is all. That's not the way it's supposed to run. It's supposed to be done in a systematic way where you pre-decide that if you don't sign off on this glass ordering by this date, we will be in a delay. So they've obviously way past that date, right? And you haven't alerted them in a formal manner saying that you have missed this deadline and now the site is delayed and I will not be able to hand over to you by this date. So I think for a lot of us, we try and take this into our scope and say it's okay, it's fine, we'll push site, we'll make it happen, we'll make it work. But then it doesn't work and eventually the finger gets pointed squarely back at us. So now documentation has become my best friend. Like we just document like literally everything like psychopaths. Just document all of it and put it onto the clients for the things that they haven't done so that it's all, clear and there's no questions. I hope that answered your question. Sorry, I think she's on mute. I don't know why she can. Okay, Maitri.
Hi, Sarah. Hope you're doing well in the summer.
Yes, all good.
Yeah. So my question was, are the selections that you've specified on that list done by the client before you put in the BOQ, or you have a certain amount set in the BOQ and then the client selects based on that?
We have amount set in the BOQ, we do the selection based on it.
And then only after that the contractor is finalized, right? Like not before the. Okay.
So these are all loose items considered loose.
Okay. Yeah.
So shell structure like your marbles and your sanitary fittings and all of that, it's like before the site begins. But your
Okay.
fixed items, like your furniture and your wardrobes, and those are considered loose items.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we don't need to select because that has a 6 month lead time. So even if they were to select,
Okay.
who's going to warehouse it while the site is still getting ready?
Fair
So
enough.
wait 4 months of the site starting and then order the material so that when it takes 6 months to come, then we're aligned with the site handover.
Okay. Okay. So there's a ball. Sorry.
Yeah, it's staggered based on when the materials is supposed to reach on site. But yeah, the whole all of it is very much there.
In the BOQ.
Okay, guys, just ask your questions in the comment section. I'm going to try and get through as many of them as we can because I think we have the last 10 minutes that we can extend this call by. I'm just going to okay, Sonali has asked if the designer is working on a 0% commission. How do you charge the client as a designer? So we charge a per square foot rate, and that includes the execution and the design part. So it's a higher rate, which makes sense because we're tracking the project from start to finish. Okay. Do we finalize all the materials? I think that's been answered. Once the design is frozen, how do you deal with revisions? So that's a really good question from Brinda. There's a revision, we do send an email that there's going to be this escalation budget and this escalation in timeline. So that's communicated, and we work on a clear system where if the project extends beyond a certain number of months, we go into a monthly retainer. So our clients don't want to move into that retainer model, which is why they are also more incentivized to close off all these decisions. Um, do we charge separate fees for project management? I've answered that we don't. Um, Does your team provide 3Ds? Yes, it is. We provide our 3Ds. We have them all in-house. Multiple iterations in design, which is causing delay. I think we've also answered that in a different way. How do you effectively vet a contractor? Okay, this is a good question. Okay, so to vet a contractor, Amog, you have that sheet, our contractor ranking sheet. Just pull it up. We have a format for this. Thanks for asking this, Pavaki. We started this last year. Work in process, not exactly project management, but we've taken this on. Amog is just pulling it up. So, we have a ranking system for our contractors so that we can see who are the good contractors to work with and which ones should we work with again and which ones should we not work with again and why, so that the next time when we recommend a contractor to our clients, we know. Amog, you're pulling it up. You can start screen sharing. Nothing is come up on the screen. Try again. Just exit and try.
Yeah, is it visible now?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the set of contractors, and we have uh, given the ratings.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, these are the set of contractors, and these are the quality. So we generally give rating as per quality of work, the quality of work they have executed on previous side, and also while working with us. So before hiring any contractor, we generally do our check-ins with other designers with whom they have previously worked. We go on site, we check everything. The quality, the management they have done, and also take reviews from previous designers. Then site management. So how do they manage site? then worker skill. So generally, what happens ki on one side they have a good painter, on other side they might have
Yeah.
not uh, as
Exactly.
good painter as on other side. So as per that, we have classified these contractors as well. Detailing, so not only for from our detail, but whenever they are executing the details we have provided to them, so how do they execute it, so that also we check and give them a rating. Drawing knowledge, are they able to understand the drawings, uh, do they follow what all our detailings are, then project updates. So
Sorry, Amog, I just want to get to some of the other ones also. So basically, we have all of these ratings where everyone who has worked with them fills it out. That's the team leads who have worked with them, and the more number of people that have a rating, that increases the veracity of that rating within our
overall
organization, the overall rating, and it's also based on number of projects that they've done with us. And after each project, this rating is then updated. So when tomorrow we are recommending a contractor to a client, it's not just on like, he's very good, we had a good experience. It's like, what are all of these key skill sets and what happened with each of these skill sets. Yeah. I think a lot of the questions that are coming up are like, what happens if there's a change in the entire process. So, guys, that's the reality of our jobs. There's always going to be changes. We have to remain flexible, but we also have to remain, clear in our communication that because of these changes, this is what the impact is going to be on the project, because it's always going to be time and money that's costing to the client. And eventually, in the end, when they have to pay that extra time and money, they always blame us, saying, okay, but you extended the project by so much, you extended the budget by so much, which is, we don't want to get into all of that finger pointing, which is why at the time when that change is happening, we send a clear email saying this is what it means in terms of budget escalation and time escalation. So that's the easiest way to keep it clear. I think we've also shown you the budgetary tracking document, which is tracked in real time. So even when a client wakes up at 12 o'clock in the night and says, how much is my budget? What is my project costing? They have this sheet with them, which they can update, on a regular basis and be clear about what that is. Yeah. And my point of contact from the team is we have a team structure where it's me. Under me, there's three team leads. Under each team lead, there's senior designers. The senior designers work with junior designers, and the senior designers are the point of contacts on all of the projects. Okay, taking one last question. Let me exit this pin and I will do that because I think a lot of the questions are repetitive. How do you track loose furniture timeline and delivery? We've already answered. I think some of the same questions are getting asked. So I'm just gonna get to one more. Okay, let's try. We've asked a lot of the girls. Let's ask you, Chiranjeev Gulati.
Hi, how are you?
All good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a really great thing you are doing, inspiring everyone and teaching everyone how to do the management.
We're also like learning as we go. We're just trying to share like some of the systems that we put into place. I feel like sometimes it may be like a lot of information, especially
Yeah.
for younger, newer designers who are like, okay, but how do I do all of this when I'm a team of me plus one or me plus two, right?
No, that's really
Yeah. But the goal is that at some point, like we can all try, like we can all like try and incorporate even one of these systems may work.
yeah.
What was your
No,
question?
that's really good. So my question is, do clients end up blaming you or saying that it's your fault at certain stage when the vendors goof up or make mistakes or there are delays that since you're playing in the front?
It's gotten better. It's gotten better because we've been very clear in our communication. And what we've started doing now is that if we think a vendor is goofing up, instead of waiting for the client to notice, we call the client samne se and say, listen, this vendor has delivered some shit quality wood flooring. We hate it,
Okay.
dealing with it. We'll call you when it's resolved.
Okay.
That we're finding to be the better way of doing it instead of waiting for them to come to site, see that it's terrible, they'll flip out, they shout at you.
Yeah.
Having said that, we still get bear the brunt of a lot of, like your vendor, your contractor, you told me to do this and all. We're trying very hard. So even like, when the clients sign on with us, is that we tell them that there's no your contractor and my contractor. There's only the contractor. And we will help you track things with her contractor, not my
Yeah.
contractor, your contractor. But it still happens, yeah. Like, clients are clients.
No, we really face such kind of issues, so I thought I'd ask you. How do you
Yes.
guys?
No, I mean it's we try, and I think the constant communication is helpful. Amok, do you have a different answer to this?
No, no. Which one?
What he was asking, that do we still get blamed when vendors mess up?
Yes, yes. So for this, it is a better way. Ki we generally like if there are a bad quality of wooden flooring tiles or something like that. If there are a bad contractor working on site, we generally directly uh, talk with clients. Ki this is all the work which is not done perfectly on site. So we feel like
Okay.
exiting with this current contractor.
One more question, if you are comfortable, I'd like to ask. So
Yeah.
I've asked something related to the vendors. I'd like to ask something about the clients. So what happens is, during in the middle, let's say you start with the designing work, and in the middle of the project, like the designing has been finalized. So all of a sudden, the client gets he explores new ideas. He sees a lot of interest, and all of a sudden he keeps thinking like, I'm not happy with the design. Let's change it. Let's do something. I'm not very happy. This is the house I'm building. Let's make some changes. Let's redesign. So how do you deal with that?
I think there's a lot of clients that do that, that just keep fishing around for designs. Again, like,
Yeah.
we work on, like I said, we work on a retainer. So if they want to keep wasting time on design, at some point their clock and contract is gonna
Yeah.
get out.
They keep asking for options. They keep
Yeah.
asking
So
multiple
but
options.
we also tell them like, hey, there's a very good story. I don't know. I saw this on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen this. It's a story about one of the world's most successful shoe salesmen. Okay. It's like a sales strategy. So basically, like there's a lady who goes into a store and then she says, show me this shoe. And then the shoe salesman shows it to her. And then she say, okay, show me this other shoe. The shoe salesman brings her the second one. And then she says, show me this third shoe. The sale does it for the third shoe. Of these two shoes, you have to remove one. Only then I'll give you a third option. Okay, so if you keep putting on that plate of the client option, 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 they're left with 10 options and then they'll be like, I hate all the options. But you have to force them to remove some options and add a new option.
Yeah.
So that in the end, they're left like you have to make the process a bit, structure it a bit differently. And that really, that's been such a learning for us. So if they say sit there and remove the references of what they don't like, and only should be left with one reference of something that they like. So it helps them with their mind, as well.
Yeah. Got your point. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I hope that you guys learned even one, little snippet of information from this. And thank you for your time. Thank you for signing up. And we'll keep doing more of these. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.